Robert should be calling any second now. I'm super excited to talk with his thoughts on court. We didn't get to have any conversation with him yesterday following the court proceedings. They rushed him out pretty quickly. So I'm excited for him to give me a call back here real quick, and hopefully we can get this started.
And paid for by
Robert Jones, Ada County.
an evening at Ada County Jail. This call is subject to recording and monitoring. If you don't wish to talk, hang up now. Thank you for using Talmix.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yay. All right.
How's it
How
going?
are you?
Well, could be better, could be worse.
It's the same answer every time, isn't it?
Pretty much. Because it's the only way I can really be truthful.
Okay, say that one more time.
I said it's the only way I can really be truthful.
That's true. All right, so I have a lot of questions about yesterday, but I want to turn off my background noise. So give me 2 seconds here while I turn this off.
Okay.
All right, you still there?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe I should start off with a little summary of what this charge involves. You think that'd be good?
Yes, I think that would be perfect.
Okay, so are you doing the live stream thing again or whatever?
I am live streaming.
Like right now?
Right.
Okay. So you want me to go ahead and start?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so pretty much I've been involved in activism for a while. My main passion is to fighting CPS, the government organization that wrongfully separates so many families. But during that, I've also stand for other rights also. I've quit a successful business to where I was a contractor, a remodeling contractor, and to do activism, so I get involved in a lot of different types of activism. This specific charge, how it originated was for the mask mandate. The charge goes back clear back to December 8th. Okay, previous to this charge, I was also charged with trespassing at CDH for simply attempting to show up and listen in on a public meeting live at their building, like open meeting laws state. I was social distancing, but I cannot wear a mask due to an anxiety disorder or whatnot. I freak out. Okay, so they arrested me for trespassing there. That was later thrown out because, just like I said at that time, they did not have the authority to trespass. So later on, and the reason I showed up there is because at that time was because they had specifically said that they were targeting what they called the spectators, attenders, the people who wanted to attend the meeting that opposed their points of view. So they were specifically targeting a political subsection that disagreed with them. So I showed up to represent that political subsection and was trespassed. Okay. Then later, just running up to December 8th, I can't remember the exact date. They had stated that they wanted to make it a misdemeanor for you not to wear a mask when they told you to. I can't remember the exact punishment, I can't remember if it was jail time.
I think
And
I think it was jail time or a fine of.
It was probably both, but I just for the sake of trying to be 100% truthful, I specifically, me, don't remember exactly what the punishments they were wanting to bring up, but they were trying to make it a misdemeanor. They were trying to legislate by committee.
They were.
Therefore, I wanted to stand up for this too, but being trespassed from the CDH, as we've seen with Ammon Bundy, just because the original trespass was unlawful, doesn't mean they can't charge you with trespassing again.
So you had a trespassing charge at Central District Health. So
Yes.
you weren't allowed to go there, and that's why you went
So-
to the next location. Right?
Yeah, so I asked, they were having a big rally there, which I believe was attended by 400 plus people. Some people say 400, some people say 500, whichever, just to be on the minimum side, at least 400 people. And there was another protest, two other protests that night, one at Epperly's house and the other one at Diana Luciano's house.
So Diana
Epperly and
Luciano
Diana
and Epperly were what? What title did they hold at that time?
He was the doctor's consultant, and Diana Luciano was a board member, a voting board member. And I had asked him to participate, but I couldn't show up at the CDH one, so I asked to go to the smallest protest of the night, just because I want to support the best I can. So the Epperly and the Diana Luciano's protests weren't publicly announced. But from my understanding of it, at Epperly's house, there's 25, 30 people, and 3 of us showed up at Deanna's house. And we did our protest, which was approximately 8 minutes. If you want to go from getting set up to us leaving, it was about 15 minutes total, and we left. Then, unbeknownst to us, they had ended the meeting because Diana had basically had an emotional breakdown on the live stream.
That's
Because,
such a polite way to put it. I love that. I said that's such a polite way to.
well, I mean, it's just kind of what happened and whatnot. Because she had left her kids home alone. Well, I guess her mom was supposed to be there, but her mom had left to take the dogs on a walk. And see, none of this was known to us who showed up there for the 8 minutes to protest. We assumed that she was there because she had done the meeting from her house previously. We even contemplated where we assumed she was in the upper level of her house where you could see like some kind of cloth. I can't remember exactly what it was. A kind of white, transparent type cloth. It looked like it was kind of in a circle, like let's say a shower curtain or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we assumed, at least I assumed, I can't exactly, I mean, we talked about it, but my assumption was that she was up there and she was using that curtain to block off, the rest of her office or whatnot, which I could see because anybody ever seen my office, it's a disaster. So I could see putting up a cloth to make it look more clean, more professional. So we assumed she was there. We did our protest loud enough for her to hear us inside. Then we left. And the mayor, she freaks out and she orders the meeting shut down, unbeknownst to us, like I said. And we went, we were ready to go to the next place, which was, I believe it was the director that we were going to protest, and everybody was going to come here to protest. But we stopped in the parking lot, and we were going to watch the meeting on our phones or whatnot, on our phone. Well, David and Susan were looking around for the meeting, and all they could find was, I believe it was a 14-minute clip. And they were like, well, this can't be right, but this was uploaded today, so this is weird. So we decided, well, go ahead and watch that clip. That's when we found out the meeting was canceled. At that point, we didn't know what to do because the plan was when the meeting was over with, we were going to go to the director's house, protest there. So we decided to go ahead and head there just in case people had started to go there. It was not a good idea to protest by yourself. So we went there to try to make sure that people weren't there by themselves until we could get confirmation that the protest there was called off, which it was. And Boise PD was there, but they never made it to Diana's house, just so everybody's aware. And then that specific item was tabled that night, and to the best of my knowledge, was never brought up again. So that night, effectively, we ended that possibility. And so then,
Which is something everybody should be celebrating, because who knows where we'd be today had they used that authority back then that they thought they had to implement that law,
Yeah.
you know?
right, exactly. I mean, they got away with, they had later admitted that they had illegally closed the meeting, the public meetings. But what did that do? That didn't do anything for us. So, they may look back on this and say, oh, well, yeah, technically we can't legislate by committee, but, the people who got, charged, oh, well, let them sit in jail type thing. Or maybe the people would have sat in jail waiting to find out that the charge, you can't legislate by committee. So we effectively ended it. And this, you would think that, okay, that's the end of the story, but it's not completely the end of the story.
It's so interesting. I'm having video streaming issues right now. So yesterday when I was leaving the courthouse, I tried to do like an update as to what happened in the courtroom, and it wouldn't let me. So I'm checking YouTube right now because I'm using a streaming software to go to both YouTube and Facebook. Give me two seconds here.
Oh, did we stop streaming that we said?
Well, I don't know how long it hasn't been streaming. JJ just said I have a black screen, but I can see it, but I can't hear it. But it wouldn't let me. So what I've done in the past when I'm going to get on with you is I set up like to notify people in advance that I'm going to be going live, so that people have kind of a heads up that we're...
That's all right, as long as they can still hear the audio.
Well, I don't know if he could hear or not. He didn't say. So I can see it. I can't hear it because I'm talking. So, all right, I'm going to...
Well, ask people to comment if they can hear.
Okay, if you can hear us, please comment. I got to get back to the comments so I can see if anybody's answering. So I don't know if you know this, but Sunday night, Ammon tried to do a video, and it was instantly, I'm assuming instantly censored, because it was gone immediately off of his YouTube channel. Some people were able to watch it live, but it's gone. Like, there's no trace of it. I couldn't find it. Like, while he was streaming live, somebody texted me, and I was trying to like get on there and see it, and I couldn't see it. And then it was just gone. And it looked like he tried to do it a second time because somebody else was able to screenshot 2 different times that he'd gone live that night, and then it was just gone again. So I don't know if he's being censored or if we're all being censored again, because I mean, we all know
have it on recording.
That, but
like on a backup recording, you can load it up later, or
yeah, it should be recording now, so everything should be fine. I'm just waiting to see if somebody will say if they can hear or not, and I'm not sure. Or
so do we want to continue and you just upload the recording later, maybe editing out this part where we're talking, or do you want to try to go back up live?
Yeah, let's just keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think where we're at is, it didn't end there. You think it would end there, but it's not there. There was continued success, not only from this, but from the efforts of, multiple people throughout our network, People's Rights Network. We're not a political action group, but there are a lot of people who are political within our groups, our network, network of groups, because that's what we are.
Right.
And so during that, basically, because of how outrageous this was, Diana Luciano lost her seat, not only with CDH, but also as a county commissioner. Ryan Davison was placed in there, which was there, by the way, yesterday, and did get in his affidavit. Just something didn't work out right. But anyways, and we got Epperly was removed from the board also. The cops actually refused to arrest me on the warrant. They arrested Susan the next morning, but I think once the cops figured out what it was about, they knew it was a political bullshit game. So Ada County, Boise City, Canyon County, Napa City refused to arrest me. How do I know this? Well, I talked to them. I won't say exactly who, but and to tell you the truth, even if you tortured me, I couldn't tell you who, because I don't remember their names. They all look the same. They all wear the same uniforms.
For 2 seconds there. and I don't want to get
Huh?
any. I said I'm going to interrupt you, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But I did notice that we did have a much different attitude from the officers that were working at the courthouse yesterday than we have had in the past.
I mean,
With
in a
the-
good way.
In a good way, with the exception of the one that wouldn't let you turn around. Is that accurate with what happened there?
Well, and I wouldn't say like he wasn't, yeah, he told me not to turn around, but he wasn't like, being a prick about it. He just, that is the rules. And so he was, and he even said something to the effect of, I understand it's hard because they're here to support you, but I got to have you look forward.
Right.
So he wasn't a jerk about it. I want to make that clear. He's just trying, make me follow the rules. And, he didn't, do anything mean to me as far as I'm concerned. And, I don't like that that's the rules, but I mean, that is the rules. It's silly to my opinion, but whichever. And yeah, so I mean, and that's the thing is that the cops, I mean, and on this warrant, it was twice that I went to the courthouse and they didn't arrest me. The courthouse, they didn't even arrest me. And then finally, a cop was ordered to arrest me. To the best of my knowledge, he was ordered to arrest me.
But it wasn't just any cop, though, right?
Huh?
It wasn't just any cop, right?
Well, it was an Ada County sheriff that was there,
I
at
For
courthouse
some reason, I
duty or
was thinking it
whatnot.
was ISP, because didn't it happen at the Capitol?
No, that was the first time I was arrested.
Okay.
And then because they were doing Zoom, and then they ordered me to tell people to stop protesting, and I refused to tell people to I'm not going to enforce an unconstitutional government order, whether it comes from a judge or not.
We need
and
more of that.
because of that, then they found me for failure to appear. Because previous to that, I was doing their Zoom. Okay, and the first time I was arrested, yes, was by ASP, the opening day of the session. And then the second time was at the courthouse, like I said, after twice. And then I do believe that cop quit. I know that he wasn't happy about having to arrest me, but to the best of my knowledge, he was ordered to, and I think he quit after that.
It would be really interesting 10 years from now to come back and look at all of the officers that you interacted with to see kind of a bigger footprint on what you were able to accomplish in everything that you've been through.
Well, and I want to qualify that a bit too. It's not me, it's we. I'm beginning to center this because I'm the one in jail. I'm the one that got hit the hardest with it. But it was we. Even at the protest, it wasn't just me. It was me, Susan, and David.
Right.
I'm the one being, but yes, it was we. Throughout this, it's been we. It's our group of people, and we have made a big impact with them. And yes, I mean, I do have to take credit for my behavior has been reasonable in my opinion, and obviously in the cops' opinions, because they've treated me as such. And so and I even heard that the cops were glad to see that many people there for me, which was awesome. But getting back to the backstory, okay. Then the final time I was arrested was up in council, because it was 8 months, I believe. It was 8 months that the warrant was out, and I was still attending protests. I was still having pretty regular interaction with cops, and they were refusing to arrest me. They were not arresting me.
And even that arrest in council was very suspicious.
Yeah, well, yeah, that I don't want to go into all that, but yes, up in council, pulled in, and 2 minutes later, the cops pulled up and knew who I was, knew that I was armed, knew how to deal with me pretty quickly. So I do think it was a setup, not by the person I was meeting, but I think it was because they were monitoring my social media, which it wasn't really social media, it was television. But, I've never thought that stuff was really secure, like they try to tout it as. But yes, I do believe that they were monitoring that, and that's why they arrested me up there, was because they couldn't get the cops to arrest me anywhere else.
Right.
So then that's when they stopped forcing the mask on it, and we actually finally were able to get in-person hearings, and that's where I actually got the hearing and got convicted this time. And, you know, this was a jury that if, you know, you can go into, I believe Susan sent a video on it, Jar sent a video on it, about all the elements that the jury was supposed to find me, find that I didn't do. I
Right.
think about it, yes. I might have, I don't know the air horn. I can't honestly say that I didn't do the air horn, but I don't think I did. I think I tried to get them warmed up so that,
So
Susan
that
and
somebody
David,
else could blow on them.
uh,
So that somebody else could use them.
yeah, that was my intention. But, you know, in trying to get them fixed, of course, you know, I have to test them to see if they're fixed. So, I mean, I think it's, you know, possible, you know, probable that I did at least attempt to use them, whether they worked or not. Because I don't think I ever got them working again. But either way, that was the only thing I did. And in the jury instruction, it said and I never was screaming. I mean, you can see it clearly in the video. Even the judge said that the state had proved all that stuff wrong, but they still convicted me. Why? Because it's an Ada County jury, and most of them were either worked for Ada County or were law enforcement or the such. And I wasn't even able to see their questionnaire until, I mean, almost until we had to start striking. So I never got that opportunity.
Well, that
To be
whole
able to-
thing, the whole thing was very, very rushed. I mean, you were in.
Oh yeah.
The whole day was rushed, but it really comes all the way back down to it wasn't a disturbing the peace issue, it was a First Amendment issue. And I think that
Yeah.
that part right there has been overlooked completely during this whole thing of, well, we're just going to go through, you know, the motions here and then we'll appeal it. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and appeal it, but we really have to look at the fact that everybody that testified against you that day said that it was a First Amendment issue. And they didn't
Well,
actually come out and say that, but they did agree that you were there because of a protest. They knew that you were there because of a protest.
Yeah.
There was no doubt in their mind that you were there because of masks and because of a protest.
Well, and see, we weren't allowed to use the First Amendment. So I actually had to object anytime they said protest, and I had to instruct my people not to say the word protest. So I had to call it the event. You know, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is a big fat lie, because the courts don't allow you to tell the truth. And
You were
definitely not the whole truth. That's why I say to the best of my ability, or as much as, I think actually in this one I said as much as the courts will allow.
Right.
And so, you know, that's huge. And so, yeah, we're now in the attempting to appeal it. So to kind of give, like the 19th is the next court date, to kind of explain to people what happened at this court date. This court date was what's called a Rule 35. They can restructure my sentence. That means that they could get rid of my jail time. I could just be let free. That means she could turn it into community service, or she could turn it into sealed. You know, I won't take probation, but you know, she could turn it into house arrest, I guess. She could turn it into a lot of different things, or she could just say denied, and I continued to do my time. She's already denied what they call good time, which would have taken 30 days off my sentence. So
I'm gonna pause you right there for a second, because I did do a quick update on this yesterday, and I found her not denying it immediately a good thing.
I think so too, but I think because of everybody who showed up and the eyes that were there, I think that even if she wanted to, because of people showing up, which by the way was awesome, and you know that is hugely important. I mean, I think that the judge would have just thrown it out if it wasn't for all those people that showed up yesterday. I mean, I wish that I would have been a little bit more animated at the time. I just was.
You didn't want to
by
rock the boat.
surprise.
You had to keep a straight face so that they wouldn't take you out. I get it.
Yeah, well, and like when I turned around, I meant to turn around and say something to the crowd, but when I turned around, immediately there was a cop right in my face, and it kind of scared me, and I kind of just lost my train of thought completely. And so all I could murmur out was, you know, thank you for showing up, I appreciate it, or something to that effect.
So
And I wanted to just at least say I love you to my kids and such, and thank
Well,
everybody for being there. But
when everybody started yelling, "We love you, Robert," and clapping and stuff, I was just waiting for the judge to say something. But I think she had already dismissed everybody, so she couldn't,
yep,
right?
yeah,
Um,
court was dismissed at that point, from my
but
understanding of it.
it was kind of an awkward moment, I think, for her when she like, I mean, it was kind of set in stone. Everybody was there in support of you at that point. Like there was,
Yeah, well, they knew that,
I
and that's
know,
that's what.
but the fact that everybody was willing to be loud, I think, it made an impact.
Well, and I think that just the people showing up. I mean, that's what I want to stress here too. Is that I know a lot of focus is on me, but really, the Heavenly Father, first and foremost, is responsible. He's going to keep you strong, a lot. And secondly, like all those people showing up help keep me strong. I just want to just start bawling now because oh my gosh, I mean, so much had been revved up to this moment, and then for it to just be continued was like nuts. I mean, like I almost, it's not better, but almost felt like it would be better if you just denied it, because then we have a decision. It's not better, but I mean, it's just the indecision is frustrating. But the reason that people say that I'm having such a big impact, but that's not really true. The truth of the matter is we are having a huge impact. If it was just been me going in there, sitting down, doing the hearing, that wouldn't have had that big of an impact. And it's possible she would have just denied it based on the prosecution's, untimely motion to disagree with it, which they can't figure out. They can't figure out what part of the sentence they wanted to address. I only have two things: court costs, and the sentencing. But whichever, I think that the people being there was excellent, and so it was just continued to the 23rd of December, but my next court date is the 19th. The 19th, what that is called a stay of execution. And people immediately jump to, that they're going to kill me. No, it's a stay of execution of the sentence, to execute the sentence. Like basically, if I'm granted the 19th, what happens is they pause my time. I get out, and all the consequences that the judgment has are paused until my appeal is heard. If I lose the appeal, then I have to do that time. If I win the appeal, then I don't have to do that time. Now, at least from what I get from the attorney, he sounds like I have a strong appeal. But, I do have to ask for people to help, again, with the give, send, go thing, because we've already given the attorney thousands of dollars, and he's a good guy. I don't believe he's going to overcharge me like Colt did. But it's going to cost more than what we gave him. We already gave him over we've already spent like $5,500 on this appeal so far, or more. And I don't know how much more it's going to cost.
Can we give a little background on this attorney real quick?
Huh?
Can I give a little background on this attorney real quick?
Sure. I don't know how much you know, but yeah, I've known him for a few years. But go for it.
Okay, so Robert's known him for a few years. I did get to meet with him in the hallway. He was very open to giving us suggestions on how to fix the judge problem going forward, and ways that we can alter our activism to be a little bit more effective. And he's helped Robert in the past with CPS stuff, and it sounded like he'd worked with you on a couple other things. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but this guy does have a track record of actually helping families. And he was super encouraged by everybody that showed up yesterday. And I found that was really important because he explained to me it was like a reminder for him that he wasn't just fighting for Robert. And everybody that showed up there cared about what he was doing in that courtroom because he realizes that it affects more than just Robert. It affects everybody going forward. And so this guy, I don't know, he seems different than most of the attorneys that I've talked to in the past. And he gave me some other suggestions that I'm going to try and pursue here this week. And I'll be giving updates hopefully here by Thursday or Friday on those.
Well, and to give you a little bit more of his background before that, okay, for one, he's represented me previously on disturbing the peace charges for my protest at CPS. And at one of them, at one point, he did go pro bono, which is, for those who don't know, means for free. But he is way overworked and underpaid. He's not like some of those attorneys out there who, charge you $12,000 to show up for one hearing. He cares. That's why I loved him from the beginning. He was my friend before he was my attorney. He did his military time. He was a JAG attorney. He retired from that and left that. Became a public defender in Canyon County and also in Twin Falls County. He liked to work, but they're overworked, and he wanted to try to help people more. When I met him, he was a criminal attorney, period. That was it. And then we got him involved in, some people may know about the Christine McCreary case, Bring Brennan Home. I suggested him for her for part of her case, and she brought him on for the entire case. And since then, he has now joined a family law thing, and he has dedicated that to the thing. So now he's actually kind of doing an exception. When he first did Christine's, he was doing an exception to his criminal stuff and doing a family court, but he actually was going to quit being a lawyer at one point, because he didn't feel like he was making a difference until the family court stuff came up, and then he decided to not quit, start a bar just before COVID stuff. So good thing he didn't. And now he works for a family law who works with a partner, and they take on family law cases. And he's in my opinion, he's one of our allies. We may have disagreements sometimes on legal strategies and stuff when it comes to family court stuff, but he is definitely an ally to families with CPS. The thing is that he's way underpaid. He works he comes here and he's just so tired he can sometimes hard stay awake.
That was one of his comments last night. Is like, the image that I'm seeing today of this courtroom filled with people is going to be one of those images that's going to keep me going at night, where I'm just exhausted and want to go to bed. But there's more people counting on me than just my client. So this is the type of thing that's going to keep me going. And so that was really encouraging to me. I do kind of want to pause you for just a second, because you talked about some wins. We had a really big win today, and I don't know if you've heard it yet. Marissa's charges got dropped.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. That's yeah, they should drop them. Then, yeah.
So at this point, all of the charges on their family have been dropped. And they actually just popped in and wanted to ask if you've received the letter from Marissa, baby Cyrus, and Levi.
No, I haven't.
Not yet. Okay. Marissa, not yet, but I will let you know as soon as he does. So.
Yeah, that is awesome as heck. So remember, though, it wasn't just the family was charged. My charges were dropped for the honking horn and stuff, but we still had Ammon, who was going to court for the supposed trespass at the hospital. I think that all of us who are in this have a hard time, promoting ourselves. We still need to stand for Ammon, because he was very key in keeping that baby from being lost into foster care, right, and being able to bring that baby back sooner. I mean, he was full force in this. So let's not, I absolutely am happiest. I'll get out that Marissa's charges were dropped. And the family, it sounds like, I think all of them are dropped at this point, except Ammon's trespassing charge. So we still need to stand with him.
So I'm just going to touch on that super fast. So Grandpa is still being sued for defamation, right? And Ammon's being sued for defamation. And Ammon and Wendy, as far as I'm aware, both are still facing charges. If I'm incorrect on those, somebody post it in the comments so everybody can see what's going on. But if you want to stay up to date on what's going on with St. Luke suing that family, you need to go to freedomman.org. And I'm sure somebody will drop that in the comments too.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Their charges were dropped. That makes me happy as heck. Another win, which she should have never been charged to begin with, but that they actually, dropped them. That is awesome.
Yvonne says she loves you, And Jessica says she loves you and that she's praying for you. And Dana says hi. So
Thanks. I appreciate it. And
I got to
Yeah,
check the
it's-
other platform to see if other people have commented too, but I just wanted to get that in there before we run out of time.
yeah.
So I just want to let you know we have a potluck planned for next Monday at 12 o'clock in front of CDH. I don't know how warm that's going to be. I was thinking maybe just a potluck afterward, but everybody's decided the potluck's at noon in front of CDH. So it's going to be a party over there. And then we're going to wrap up a little bit early so everybody has time to get parking. Parking this last Monday was a nightmare to get into your court. And I got to
Well,
tell
no.
you, this is really funny. Sarah Brady actually got kicked out and had to walk all the way back to her car because she had a fork in her purse.
Well, and don't forget that 19th is also the CPS protest earlier in the day.
No, that's what I said. We're already planning that ahead. We're gonna do lunch. Everybody's gonna do lunch out in front of CDH, so we're all out there. And
That's CDH. That's CPS.
okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Say that one more time. I'm having a hard time.
I said that's CDH. That's CPS.
Okay, so CDH is on the 19th as well.
I don't know of anything with the CDH, but I don't know of any protests for CDH. All I know about is the one that I've been doing for 7 years or so now.
Yeah.
Which is
I think we're saying the same thing. I may have just misspoke.
okay.
But
Yeah,
I
so
was meaning CPS.
just to be clear for everybody, CPS on Fairview, not CDH.
All right. I'll make sure that the image that we send around CPS is on the 19th. Yep. They're correcting us in the comments. We're good. They got our backs.
Okay. Yeah. So that's awesome. Yeah, and that's a protest I've been doing for literally years. And part of the reason I won't take probation is because previously in my probation, the only term of probation was that I could not protest CPS. So that's part of the reason I won't take probation. It's not all of it, but that's part of it. So it tells you how scary they are. Little me, I show up by myself, play some music. Well, I used to play some music. That's how I got the distributing the peace charges. Those demons hate Christian music. And do some talking. Now we've dropped the music thing for the most part. I have at least. And I really appreciate that my wife and that you guys are keeping that up going so that we can stay consistent with that while I'm in here. Yeah, I'd love to see everybody again at the 19th, and hopefully we can get the stay granted. I think that it might be another game by the judge, but let's show that we're all watching and that we're all worried about the First Amendment, and we want to legalize the First Amendment again. That would be awesome.
So we got to think of a creative way to bring some more attention to this as a First Amendment case, because I think that's the biggest thing that's being overlooked, and that's the most terrifying thing, because if they were able to get you on disturbing the peace, I mean, going forward.
Well, I got two different suggestions on that.
Okay.
One is the ACLU number is blocked from the jail, so I can't call them. But maybe if a bunch of people called the ACLU and they had enough interest in it because they only want stuff that's of public interest, maybe the ACLU would pop in on that. I know that in our circles they don't have the best of reputations, but I mean, if they will support and defend white supremacists, which is bullshit in my opinion, then their First Amendment, you have the right to hate. Then why not step into this? And second is, and one that I think may be more palatable to people, is we all have legislators. Why don't we all rally and call all the legislators? Maybe make it some kind of competition or something to how many different ways can we call so many different legislators, and try to get them to pass some bill to reduce the consequences for disturbing the peace. Because as I sit here, I thought about it. What could you do disturbing the peace that would justify 180 days? And I don't know. I can't really think of anything that would. I mean, even if you got one of those old World War II, sirens and blared it, would that really justify 180 days in jail? So maybe we can, have our legislators address it legislatively, legislate by legislation instead of by committee, and reduce the consequences of disturbing the peace, so
Well-
that if they do try to use this against us in the future, they can't put you in for 180 days.
Well, there's that angle, but the angle that I was thinking of, Robert, is that we need to be contacting the legislators to have them investigate the judges, because the judges that are preventing us from exercising our First Amendment rights, they should be caught for, violating their oath of office, right?
Well, judges have some of the best immunity that is in America. Judges can pretty much do whatever they want and get away with it for the most part. And I don't know if it's within the legislative authority to investigate a judge. If it is, that would be fine. But
Well, if
I
it's
don't.
not, maybe that needs to be added. I mean, what's
Well, that would take a constitutional amendment. Now, what they could do is pass a law, that a judge this, that, and the other. But that would have to contend with the immunity. Or, what they could do too is, I do believe they could address the actual immunity, because I do believe that immunity is a law. So they could pass a law to remove at least some of the immunity protections on judges who violate people's rights.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I don't think they should have immunity.
Yeah, me neither. But I mean,
immunity creates a comfort level that should
Well,
not
and-
exist in any position of authority.
and a lot of times they have to be granted immunity for doing something that is wrong, is that they thought that might be possibly within their jurisdiction or within their authority to do. So since it's possible that they thought that it might be, then they get immunity. I think that maybe we can address that. That would be a good way to address all judges. And I also agree with Johan. In jail, he has come and seen me a couple of times, but we're never sure what's being monitored.
It's all being
But
weird.
one of his things is, that we can vote judges out. And, Judge Ellis has been a pretty bad judge. I know his name because of how many times that they've done stuff that's not right. Stealing children from families. Like, if I seen him on the street, I wouldn't know who he is, but his name is all over paperwork all the time. And so we can now in the campaign to get that specific judge out. But that's just a Band-Aid. So if we could get our legislators to do something more sweeping to remove immunity from judges, that would be awesome. Will they do it? Gee, I don't know. We could propose, we could do, a dual thing that, I think that reducing the consequences for disturbing the peace is more of a doable thing, because I think once you start approaching the judge's immunity, then you're going to get IACI and you're going to get all the big money coming in to fight us, because, they depend on that immunity to benefit themselves. So, they're gonna put a lot of money into going against us. Disturbing the peace, I don't think you'd have as many big money people opposing you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think we do have to continue to kind of hit it on as many angles as possible, even though it's kind of exhausting. I was trying to pull up a picture of the judge, because I've heard so many things about how wicked she is, and I'm playing with Photoshop, so I thought it would be fun to get a picture of her and see what I could do with it. Just
Nancy
kind of advertise,
Susan Clark.
yeah, but all of the images of her have been completely wiped off the internet. Completely. Like, you can't even see a picture of her on Ada County's website.
Well, and one thing too that and I think that has been since my case in the beginning. But one thing too is that speaking as a Christian, we're to forgive, hold accountable, but forgive. So being how about we expose her instead of making fun of her the way she looks, expose her wrongdoings and try to
I wasn't
take it on
even
that
thinking
level.
of making fun of her. I was simply going to add her face to an image for showing up on the 19th. And,
Oh.
you know, but there's been lots of different ideas that went through my head. Not that I was going to publish them, but creativity
Yeah.
sometimes gets the best of you. But yeah,
Well, let's
like
just try to.
I can't
I'm
find
just-
an image anywhere. There's nothing.
Yeah. I'm looking in Kenyon County. She used to be a Kenyon County kid.
I was looking there too.
Hmm,
Like I'm talking
okay.
the internet. She's gone off the internet. It's kind of
Yeah, I
like
don't
when
know.
it's kind of like when my friend Jen got wiped off of social media. Like she lost the TikTok
You have
account.
1 minute remaining for this call.
So is there anything else we need to cover? Do you want me to call you back, or do you think we're good? Or
I think we're good. We'll keep it short tonight. Do you want to talk again Saturday or Sunday before court?
if you want me to, I can call you back Saturday or Sunday, whichever.
Okay, I'll text Melanie and we'll work something out and we'll post it in there. Everybody come out next Monday.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate everybody who showed up. You guys made a difference, big difference. Everybody was talking about it, so yes, thank you so much for showing up, and I appreciate it. And the support that people have given my family, I really appreciate it. And letters, I like letters, even if they're silly, just whatever.
All right. I've been failing on that. I'll make sure I get some in the mail this week.
But yeah, it's all right. One person, she just sends me inspirational quotes, and Dawn, I love her. She's awesome.
I haven't mentioned her enough. Dawn is a rock star, and she also shows up to
You have
everything, just
exceeded
like
the
Meg.
allowable time for this call. Goodbye.
I hate that moment when the government says I can't talk to my friend anymore. It's total bullshit. But I do want to kind of recap two things. Robert would like everybody, and I mean everybody, so maybe we need to put a call to action out on this to call the ACLU because he cannot do it. So if we could get everybody to flood the ACLU this week with a request that they take a look at Robert's situation, that would be fantastic. And flood your legislators. So we do have a whole new batch that go in January. So make sure that you are contacting the ones that are going to be in office effective January 9th or whatever the day is. And let's see how many responses we can get. And I'm going to challenge each and every one of you as you get responses from them, post them publicly because everybody needs to know what they're saying. I appreciate everybody's comments. I apologize. It looks like a lot of these are on a really long time delay. And thank you for correcting me. Next Monday, the CPS protest, not Central District Health, Children Protective Services, or whatever it's called, on Fairview, is where we're going to meet at noon, bring something to share for lunch, and immediately following that, we're going to caravan over, maybe honk our horns on the way to the courthouse just for fun, and proceed into the courthouse for Robert's hearing. We had approximately 60 people there yesterday. Robert really believes that that had an impact on the judge's decision. So I would challenge each and every one of you to show up again next Monday and bring a friend. Let's hit 100 people in there at least. I mean, if we could fill that hallway more than it was, I think that would make a serious impact on her decision again. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I appreciate everybody supporting Robert. Send him a letter. Send him a Christmas card with no glitter. And I will try and update here again later on in the week as I continue chasing down some of the options that his lawyer gave me. So I will talk to you guys again later and have a great night.